In this part, we are going to talk about relations. Now, relations are defined as rules of relationships between sets. So they give us a way of connecting elements of one set to elements of another set. So take, for example, this is the set of integers, and this is also the set of integers. The rule says that take an element of this set, multiply it by 2, and get its image in that set. Now, clearly, if this is a 4, 4 would be mapped to 8, or the image 8, under this relation. So that's how we define a relation, and that's how they work. So we now have some important or critical terminologies. The first is that of a domain. A domain is the set from which we take elements and plug into the relation or analyze under the relation or the rule. Then we get the images. Now that set is independent because we decide which numbers to take and plug into the relation. It doesn't care about the relation. It doesn't even care about the images. So the other one is the range or the set of images. Now this set is dependent because it depends on the relation and also depends on the domain. If the domain does not have certain numbers, then certain numbers will not come out of the images. So that is the definition of relations. And now we are going to look at the types of relation. Now we are going to look at the types of relations. The first is the one-to-many case. Here, every distinct element of the domain is mapped to a unique element in the range. So take, for example, the set of all people in South Africa and the set of ID numbers. Here we must have that each person has a different ID number. And we cannot have two people using the same ID number or the same person using two different ID numbers. Next is the many-to-one case. Some elements here are mapped from the domain to the same element in the range. Take, for example, the set of all students registered in high school and the set of all high schools. Now, some students will go to the same high school, but we cannot have one student going to two different high schools at the same time. Now, the next one is the one-to-many case. Here, some elements of the domain are mapped to two or more elements in the range. Here you can think about the set of all fathers in the world and the set of all children. Now, one father can have different children, but we cannot have one child having two different fathers. It doesn't make sense. Biologically, it's impossible. So those are the types of relations. You can think about more examples that deal with each and every type of relation that we have. Finally, we are able to answer the big question of what is a function. So a function is a relation that is either one-to-one or many-to-one. So that's essentially the definition of a function. Now the one-to-many case or the one-to-many relations are not functions. So now we know functions are essentially rules that are set between two sets connecting the elements of one set called the domain to the elements or images in the other set called the range. Now we are going to be going into the details of functions, dealing with the different types of functions and all else that you need to know about functions.